and go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good night, everybody. So, as we all told you, tonight we have sitting down with us Kareem and Firas, who are members of NLD V2, the recently disbanded NLD V2, actually, who placed second in the ESCL Games Fund 2 tournament. And so we have them here with us, and we're going to ask them some questions very similar to what we asked Captain Azim. So we're going to get their take on what went wrong and what went right for them at GamesCon and what they think the community, the state they think the community is in now. So first off the bat, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you in the beginning. How much did NLD actually prepare for GamesCon? Were you all practicing as much as you think you should have been? Were you not?
Well, in terms of preparation, we played very little, in my opinion. We played very little team matchmaking, right? We played very little games actually as NLD, as 5 players. But individually, as I knew Azim was matchmaking a lot, and he was theory crafting a lot and working on his stuff. And well, Kareem and I, we did something close to about 200 1v1s, and we kept working on different hero matchups. And I kept telling him, what to do differently each time, because we're working on some theories too about different heroes and how to be different heroes mid. Just because it was mostly for my benefit, because as I got back an actual keyboard, I could have started practicing back mid lane and playing it better. And well, we ran other things too. Like, okay, now that you know, I feel good to talk about this now. So before I would have hidden it, right? I wouldn't have liked to tell anybody what we were doing. But as everything's over now, I could tell everyone exactly what we were doing, and like we would go into lobbies, and I'd have to like because before I used to be the fifth role player on NLD, right, with Kareem. We were the support combo, support duo. But then I moved into mid lane, and Jimmy came in, and he replaced me. But he went to fourth role, and Kareem went to fifth role, right? So
Yeah.
I had to teach Jimmy how to ward, basically. Like, he needed to be on par with how I would ward. So I teach, and well, it was a refresher for Kareem, because he knew how to ward. So we basically went into lobbies, went over like warden, in every stage of the game, and we went over counting how many seconds it would take to walk to a lane, and how to know when the off laner would have TP to lane and place his ward, and when stuff like that. So we did more individual things, more isolated things. We did isolated tri lanes versus off lanes, where even Azim would play the off laner, right? So an event that I had to play safe lane, our tri lane had enough communication to beat a 6k off lane player, right? So we did that too, and between, well, it was me mostly, me, Kareem, and Azim who prepared, I would say, because Blaze and Jimmy, they had work, they had other priorities to attend to, but they did still put in, their share. But in terms of actual preparation for the LAN event, I think more could have been done. So we had our share of preparation. Might not have been sufficient, but those who could have did. So
Okay. Okay. So you prepared fairly in your
yeah,
mind.
yeah, in my mind.
What? How confident do you think you were going into Gamescom as a team?
As a team, well,
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that Kareem was very confident because he thinks we beat everybody. So on the whole, our team morale was high. Um, I particularly, uh, I was going into the event without knowing how the PCs and stuff would be, right? So I was excited though, because I was fairly certain nobody could beat me in my lane at the LAN event, and I think the most nervous person had to be Azim.
Outer Blaze.
After Blaze,
Yeah.
mm, probably, I guess, yeah. But we were pretty confident, I think. I mean, we have to be, right? Because it doesn't make sense going to tournament and not feeling confident. I think if anyone should feel confident, it would have been us, right? Because we won the most recent tournaments, anyways.
Okay, given how confident you think you all were, what do you think went wrong for you in that best of five against NLD, against DB?
Okay, so um, after like watching the replays, and you know, I think like I already knew what went wrong what before I even started watching them, but I watched them anyways. Um, I would say it kind of boiled down to three things. Um, our lack of communication, and I have to say, like, it was kind of late. Like the games were getting late, like the high pressure games, right? That's the last two games, you know. Those are very going to be very high pressure games, games 4 and 5. Those were played like after 1 in the morning, so people were getting tired, lazy. I know I myself was kind of tired, so I understand the lack of communication. But I think our team was very coherent on the day. We had some problems. We had like we lost some very unlosable games in my opinion. Uh, I think in terms of actual gameplay, I think our team had some bad decision making, and people they didn't really listen to Azim when he said things, or they might have been too late to react, and some people might have gotten overconfident in the final game. And I think we felt out of our comfort zone. I
In
know
those last
personally,
5 games.
in the first game, I think I was really salty because Shenlong keep coming mid, and we had no idea where he was. He's that kind of player,
Hmm.
and like our team wasn't making very good rotations, and like all in all, like I listened to Kat's interview, and he was correct when he said our supports fall off mid game. That was one thing, right? Their supports kind of outfarmed our supports almost every game, except for obviously the games we were winning in, right? And I think DB itself as a team counters our team's playstyle. So I think that would have been what kind of lost us really the game.
Elaborate more on that. You think DB as a team
Huh?
counters your playstyle? In what way? Why do you say that? Because I mean, again, I come back to that thing that Rahul said that
Uh-huh.
you all are racers
Right.
and DB is
It's
an
objective
objective
based,
based.
right?
They
And
are
he's
objective
very
based. Really cool.
he's very correct when he says that. Like both Azim and I were very strong farmers. Like he's arguably a better farmer than me. But we both know how to find farm, even in a winning balance and losing game. And oh, well, like okay, okay, let me tell you. I'll tell you why we lost the games we lost, right? Um, and it's okay. There was a slot game. I think I was Lena, and that was one of the games we should not have lost really because Cat had a 20-minute Shadow Blade, and they were taking all our towers, and I was like 4-0 in 4 minutes or something mid. We were putting
Hmm.
real pressure on him. In fact, I got first blood on a bounty rune. I came into mid lane at level 2, and he's getting heavily out CS, and we still lost because their playstyle is they go together as 5, and you know how we like to play is we dominate our lanes and we rise the jungle. We take good fights on our own terms. But when DB forces us, like they just go as 5 and push, and like we're not in a position where we want to defend, and sometimes our drafts doesn't lend itself to us fighting that early. And in that game, I think Azim had SNY and Shadowblade pre 20 minutes,
Hmm.
and we still lost that game. Yeah, I mean, Deraza only had a mech, and he was getting a triple. He got a triple kill bot. That was pretty game losing. It was like we were too far ahead that we got so gritty, and we played really badly. And in the final, I think the game losing part was my fault. I Laguna Cat when he was fingered already, and then Azim just died, and the Razor stole enough damage from him that he like 3-shot me. And all he had again was just a mech, so that was really bad. That was really poor on my part.
Okay. Now,
Um,
go ahead.
okay, right? But that was that game. Um, we lost a game where I played Windrunner, and I was heavily out CS in cat mid, right? But we lost our tier 1 bot on our offlane really early, and Shen made some rotations. I didn't even know what he was doing. For all I know, he could have been stacking, but the point is we couldn't see him. And it was 4 minutes, it was nighttime, and Amir plays really aggressive. When he knows when Shen is behind him, he plays really aggressive, and it's really obvious. But he just can't target tower always, and I think I died. He rolled into me and I died. And then Cat got a good timing on his orchid, and he picked off our supports, and he just like snowballed from there. They just 5-man. They get that one item, and they just keep rolling with it. So that game, there's not much to talk about that game. Nasco farmed really fast on his Juggernaut also. I remember that. And the final game we lost, right? Even though, again, I had a 13-minute Bloodstone on a Shack and a 16-minute use, and Bloodseeker was doing really well too. But again, our team lost a lot of focus in that game. That was the game I was most upset for, because I was trying to tell everyone to focus and stop talking. You're talking about stuff that doesn't have to do with the game. They're talking about how they're going to celebrate and etc. etc. And that cockiness led to people just playing really badly. Like, I even told Azim, please don't chase the runner, and he still did it. And he and Blaze died. And then there were really bad fights. Like, Azim and all knew that he stopped actually playing the game. And I think that taking our foot off the gas was really bad, because we lost a mechanism Razor again with BKB, no damage, and a BKB Blink Shadow Fiend. Oh, but in reality, we lost the Windrunner because he had a death zone at Ags.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kareem, is there anything that you want to add at this point in time? With respect to why you think you're lost?
Oh yeah, well yeah. Adding to the last game, I think the Roche fight, where the DB Wipers and Roshanan took the Aegis. I think that was a big turning point too, because they rewarded us. I think our action was to back away from Roshan quickner and actually like bait them into it, but we didn't back up. Plus, we didn't even have enough DPS to take Roshan as quickly as possible. We have a Leshak and a Bloodseeker, and Bloodseeker don't really do that much damage, especially with the build BTK went, right? He went return damage, and what was the SNY? So, like, it was only both of them hitting it, and we had vision, and they rewarded us. And, well, as Kat said yesterday, they power shot, and he got off a track in the pit, I think it was. And then three of us, me, Blazy, and Jimmy, was outside the pit waiting for them. And then they just rushed us, and Shadow Fiend pre-BKB, and just got off a Requiem, and I think that's what ended up wiping us. And that was the turning point. I think, basically bad calls in the last game.
Okay, I understand.
And to be honest, Bloodseeker is not really a hero as he plays a lot. It's not one of his niche heroes,
Yeah, that's more Firas.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously he knows how to play the hero, but he himself knew too. Like, Blade Mail had a timing on it, we had a window, and we could have very well won in that window. But from the time Bounty got the 2 track kills bot, and then suddenly he had Solar Crest, and then the next time we saw him, he had Solar Crest and Ultimate Orb, and it was like 20 minutes in the game, and his score was 4-4-4, and we couldn't fathom how he got so much gold, right? And I could only assume it was the 2 track kills, because we were so far ahead that even when they killed Kareem had no items, but as a team, the net worth, they were so far behind that they got way too much gold. And when you're playing with his Bounty, you can't take your foot off the gas at any point in the game, because he punishes you really severely for it.
Okay. As a team, what do you think NLD's weaknesses are? And I'm not just speaking about in the last best of 5. Like, as a team.
As a team?
Okay. Yeah, as a team, what are your weaknesses?
I think we don't trust each other. Like, I'm sure DB trusts each other and the decision makers and their calls. We don't trust each other. Like, if one player feels his decision is right, he'll still do it regardless of what the captain says or whatnot, right? And normally, that's not a good thing. And even myself, I listen to Azim sometimes, and sometimes it pays off a lot, right? Like, uh, the first blood I got on Smurf in the Lena game that we still lost. Azim said back, but I saw Smurf was out of position, so I stunned him, and got off 3 autos and he died. And the other time too was the Shadow Fiend game that I played. He said to back and he ran away, and Gyro and Pyro came, and I killed the two of them, and then I got home safely. So I think, and even like I said before, right? Sometimes I told Azim to back, he just wouldn't back, and I told Blaze to back, and he wouldn't back, and they just die. And
Yeah.
those kinds of stuff are really game losing. And the worst part is, it tilts me, right? Because this tournament a lot to me, because this is the last time I was going to play Dota, with the team and whatnot. So I wanted to put school first and stop playing this game. And it was very realistically an easy win for us, because every game I did really well. Even when we check the end game screen, the games we lost, I still did really well. So I don't know. I think that lack of trust led to bad communication, and then after every death, people get less and less talkative, and that that results in just a snowball loss. And against a team like DB, who they kept their composure throughout, and well, they did their homework, so they knew what weaknesses to exploit on our team. So I think I have to say this, even though people wouldn't like me to say this, but DB support players, they are mechanically skilled, like more mechanically skilled than our support players. I don't think you could like dispute that, right? Because Shenlong is 5k and Smurf is like 4 point whatever. But Shenlong, he plays really well. So
Kareem, is there anything you want to add? Because, I mean, playing different roles would lead to you seeing things that I guess Firas would not see, him being a mid player. So, I mean, from your point of view, playing as support, what do you think your team's weaknesses are?
Well, I would agree with Faraz 100%, where certain members on the team don't trust people's decisions. Like, as he brought up, like certain people would not listen to Azim sometimes, and they'll just do their own thing. I mean, it's 50-50. Sometimes it pay off, sometimes it don't. High risk, high reward, right? So I think that is one of our weaknesses. One of the next weakness is, I think, me and Jimmy are probably the weakest players on the team, and like we had certain heroes that we could have played now, right? Like, well, for me, example was the Earthshaker, where it warrants a second ban every single game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they take out that, then my hero would either be tied or something else now, like whoever Azim decides to give me. But I don't think like my Talenta on the skill level, I would say, as my Earthshaker, and I will be relatively playing weaker now, right? So I would say the weakness would be like us two, but not saying that Jimmy is a relatively weak player. It's just like I don't think we were clicking as much as we wanted to.
Oh, I think also Azim had said restricted hero pools.
Yeah.
I think he was really correct when he said that. Because like the most important notable thing is that we have to ban heroes that we can't play. Like we can't have Tusk and Wyvern in our lineups because we don't really have people who play that, and that was something we lacked, because that was nothing that DB ever had to worry about. So we have to worry about banning Tusk and Wyvern. They don't. If they get it, they get it, and if they don't, like if they, it's banned, it's banned. It's like bounty. We kind of practice bounty because we knew DB really wanted to play bounty because Shen plays us so much bounty, right? When we did our co-ops, covert ops, and study them and their playstyle and what they were doing in matchmaking, and you know Nasco didn't have his profile on private for like a long while, and we kept watching their matches through him, and he finally
So you all
started to
did
put his
watch your
profile
matches
on
then.
private. Huh? Yeah, of
You all did
course.
watch your matches.
Of course, we studied them heavily because, in my opinion, when we went every tournament we played since we lost to them, that was the only team I cared about. I didn't fear any other team because I knew they don't do what DB does, and that's they don't do these rotations and these five mans, regardless of what position DB in. They will do five mans. They will never split up on farm to try and make back that deficit. They just do five mans, and a lot of people don't expect that, and they abuse smokes like so much, and that's really good. Um, yeah, but back to the restricted hero pools. DB has a very they support Shen and but Shen and Nasco, their hero pools. I know for a fact Nasco plays everything, right? But for the games he played core heroes, and that Juggernaut was a surprise because we thought they only carry heroes Gyro, so we just ban it. But the Jug was a surprise. But Shen himself, he plays these heroes like Bounty and Tusk, and then Smurf plays Wyvern. And all these three heroes are like very top tier bans. Meanwhile, our top tier ban hero is ES and nothing else. Like all the other support heroes that our team plays and likes to play are arguably tier 1.5 and tier 2 heroes. Even Rasta, that's like a tier 3 hero, but it's like a niche pick of ours. So if we had like a wider hero pool, even on our off lane, if we could have used some clock or some windrunner, that'd have been really good. Because now we fear windrunner because it doesn't matter what kind of farm you have on that hero, he gets a broken shackle in a team fight and you just win. And that happens. Like I saw Pyro shackle tied to Lion. Yeah, and I had to waste my use on him because he would just kill one of those heroes instantly. And because I didn't have that use, I couldn't use Shen and land a stun on him, and Shen killed Azim. And we just lost that fight at the top racks in that game 3 or something.
Mhm. Okay,
So,
going back to Save the Dream, right? That was the
right,
first time that NLD lost to DB ever.
right,
Now, you had a team reshuffle for the first time in 3 years. You
right,
swapped out Jimmy. You swapped out War for Jimmy.
right.
Why? And
Well,
do you think
uh-huh.
that losing to DB prompted the reshuffle, or the reshuffle was something that was going to happen regardless of losing to DB that very first time way back when?
Okay, well, very honestly,
Hmm.
we we when we played that, we thought that Warlord skill level decreased like severely. Like we always knew that in the tournaments before we would win off of raw skill, right? War would beat his lane, Blaze would beat his lane, me, Kareem, and Azim would win our lane for sure. And even if one of those three things don't go right, we always have two lockdown and I'll be mid and safe. But these games, Water was playing so hot mid, and if I think the game where he played co-op versus Viper in lane, he really didn't understand that lane, and Cat just beat him severely. And that was a pretty hard game to swallow because my Storm went 14-1 and we still lost, right? And all our heroes had so many items, and our heroes like lacked so many items, except me. Um, but we wanted to play with him again, even regardless, right? We just needed to like talk to him a bit. But he said he had exams, and so Azim brought in my brother, and we played with him since then because I think we won the next tourney, right?
Yes,
We beat DB 5-0. So if we beat
yes.
DB 5-0, but previously we lost them 3-2, uh, we just decided to move on with this, and yeah.
Okay. Now, you say move on with this, right? Now, Azim told us last night that NLD is disbanding permanently. Well, I mean, I use that word very loosely, that the disband is real, but at some point in time in the future, there will be an NLD V3. In the interim, you know, during that time period, before NLD reforms, what are your plans, both of you, with respect to Dota? Are you all looking for a team? Are you all going to take a break and concentrate on school and work?
Um, well, I know for me personally, I just wanted to just stop playing completely If I have to play, it might just be like fun. But I really didn't want to partake in any tournament events with any team. Um, until there was something as big as Gamescom. If there's a Gamescom too, where everything runs smoothly and we can trust the organizer, um, I would be happy to play. And I think that's where I promised them we'd come back. But I promised them I'd be playing support because I think when I play support with Kareem, I think they have no ways ever lose. Like
It's
I
more
mean,
effective.
yeah, because I'm primarily a support player. So when Amir said he didn't want to choose me, he wanted to add me in his dream team, but he didn't want me. He didn't think I'd play support. But support is my preferred role actually.
Okay. Okay, and Kareem, what about you? With respect to your plans to Dota, as you are currently teamless, will you be looking for a replacement team, or are you planning to take a break as well?
I'll also take a break. I don't think I'll be looking for any teams at the moment.
Okay, so both of
Um,
you are off the market and not currently looking for a team then.
mhm.
I guess we had to update the index.
I guess so.
Um,
So with the upcoming tournaments and leagues and so on, you all wouldn't be available basically then.
Well,
Not
the thing is, right? I am supposed to not be available if I do what I promised myself I would do. And in the event that I am available, maybe I'll play with whoever asks me. But like, I really don't want to put the amount of time and effort that I did for Gamescom into Dota again until the next upcoming one.
Okay.
okay, fair enough. That's a fair answer. So we know where both of you all stand with respect to Dota. Now, going back to your teams, um, this is a question I wanted to ask earlier before we got sidetracked down this road. Who do you think is DB's MVP? Who do you think is NLD's MVP, and why?
Okay, well, I mean, in my opinion, it's very obvious Shenlong is the best player on GB, right? And I don't say that because he's always come mid and cause Cat to end up quote unquote winning mid. But I mean, he's a very annoying player to play against. Like even back in the in-house and thing, he'd always be mid. He'd always roam mid and try to shut me down. And it haunts me. It comes back to haunt me in these actual 20 games. He's do the same thing. And thing is, right, he understands what he needs to do at every point in the game. He understands how to play support. He's very versatile in support. He knows exactly how momentum based mid lane is and how momentum based Dota on the whole is. He knows when to smoke. He knows when to stack. He knows how to zone. Very few times he'll make mistakes. Like I only observed him making mistakes whenever I laned against him. So like double kill. I think it was that tournament where we played with you and Punjit and whoever,
Yeah.
and we duel off lanes. And I think every time we duel off lane, we beat Nasco and Shen, right? And there's very few times I'd see him make mistakes, right? It'd be very split second mistakes that we capitalize on. But I think he's just the MVP because I assume too, or based off of Amir's interview, that he has a good amount of input too, right? And the team's shot call and whatnot. With respect to our MVP, it is really easy to say Azim, because he does a lot more than just play the game. He makes a lot of the game defining calls, and out of in terms of this tournament, I'd like to say myself, but I still think it'll
I'd
probably go
agree
to,
with that too, though.
because I mean in this tournament, if you watch your replays, it's probably not obvious by watching the game without seeing like CS and network and stuff. But if you watch your replays, I think every game I've played, I've been in the top 2 network till the end of the game. So I still think Azim deserves the MVP, and it doesn't matter if he makes really big plays or not. He's very stable and he's still a very good player. So
Okay,
yes.
Kareem, do you share Faraz's views with respect to Azim being MVP of NLD and Shenlong being MVP of DB?
Well, as Kat mentioned earlier in his interview, Gamescom is split into 2 parts: the event and the finals, which is online. For the event, I would have to say Blaze for NLD, and well, I didn't see any of DB's games during the event, so I really don't know, but I think I'll go Shen. And for online, I would say it would either have to be between Firas and BTK, and Shen again for the finals.
Okay.
That's my MVP.
Okay. All right. Kareem, this is a question for you specifically. When you first started playing with Azim, you were a 2K player. You were not good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you
Oh my!
you weren't good. You really weren't. And how did you get from what you were to what you are now, which is arguably one of the best position 5 players in the country? What did you do?
Uh, well, honestly, the first time, which was 3 years ago, this is my story. Um, I was just playing Dota with a couple of friends, right? Like in real life friends. Like just we used to play Hon, and it just used to go terrible. Everybody was just horrible. They would just pick heroes and just go into lanes and just feed and whatnot, right? So the same thing came over to Dota. And I was like, nah, but I really can't go through the same thing in Honda I went through in Dota. So I went to venture out and see if it had any like local talent that could teach me now. Right? So the first person I met was Lori. That is a Cheeto brother and war cousin. And he like got me in contact with Warlord when he was big now, BDPK. So I used to play support for Warlord, like support and lane for Warlord. He used to teach me what to do and whatnot for the early parts, right? And then I met Firas through his best friend Skia.
No comment.
Firas and Skia used to play together because Skia was real good friends with Lori. Then I like when I played that game with Firas, I was like, this guy mad or something. Firas was just this aggressive diving type person. I used to watch him just either feed or get the kill. I used to be like he's serious. And both of us used to play Pudge now. And we used to argue who Pudge was better, and like we used to outdo each other with certain hooks and plays and stuff in pubs. And we would just argue about that. And then that's how me and Firas became friends.
That sounded like the whole at that point in time. The Pudge was.
So well, it would be Firas play Pudge one game, he'd do real good, right? And he'd make some nice hooks, and then I say, alright, look how he's play Pudge, he's friggin'
Yeah, exactly that. Man used to base your level on how well they could play and how well they could play Pudge at some point in the past.
And then I would make some. I remember I make one sick hook where a Husker went for Invis in top lane, and I somehow I read his movements, walking back into mid. I just stand up by my tower. I just hook him into my tower for vision and kill him. And he was like, "What?" He was like, "Fucker." I was like, I didn't even know how I do that, but yeah. Then Firas was introduced to BTK, I think. And you hear that story where BTK noticed Firas, and Firas was like, well, BTK asked him. This is when BTK used to play with Shutter, like always matchmake with Shutter, and he asked Firas if he want to be in the upcoming tournament. I mean, I wanted to at a point in time, but I didn't think I was ready. So I was like, well, Trinidad having a tournament, gonna watch these big players play like War and Sin, Rad. So Firas came to me and he was like, you wanna play for BTK team? I was like, think I could play at that level, boy. I don't know. Like, you say, just come now. I was like, alright, you'll just be playing support, the supports that you know. And like the first matchmaking that me Firas BTK went into, I was playing Omni Knight. And like literally all I did was just stand up in lane with BTK, heal him whenever his life get low, and just sap his XP. I didn't stack, I didn't like, do any of those things now. And then like he flame, but he didn't flame as in hurtful flame where he would, you'd tell a random pub go kill yourself and
Look, because when I do that to him, right, when we queue together and I do that exact same thing to him, he tells me point blank, get out of my lane, go top, stay top. So,
So how exactly did he flame you?
he was like,
Piece of
he was
shit.
like we're doing like you're supposed to do this instead of that. And I was like, oh well, I didn't know. And then I think it was my desire to learn that he actually, him and Firas after Warlord, like they were basically my teachers from hardcore 2K to wherever I am now.
So where are you
Uh,
now?
I don't know, cause the as matchmaking came out, I calibrated at 3.7, almost 8, and I never played a rank matchmaking since then. I probably could play, since it came out, I probably could count the amount of solo matchmaking I've played on that account on one hand, probably two, if so much. Like I despise it. I didn't like rank at all, at all, at all.
Yeah,
So
I'm pretty toxic.
yeah, so like I would just rather learn from better players, like go in lobbies or watch them play, player perspective, streams with RTZ, Sumail, even Eternal Envy. Like those streams I'll just watch and watch how they play the hero, the movements and whatnot, and like question myself and be like, why he do this instead of that and all that stuff. And I think that's how, like, I asked BTK for one of his 7 accounts that was like high 4K. I brought it up to like 5K something, and then he got low priority on all 6. And he's like, let me borrow back the account I give you. I was like, cool, to find it in 7 games low priority and abandon solo ranch matchmaking and things. So he dropped it back to 4.8, and I was like, BTK, what the flick? So I just
My Rogom well then.
okay, okay,
just
all
bringing
right.
it back up. Yeah, so that's how they got me to be better, like playing high skill games and listening, taking constructive criticism, and open up
Listening
your
and taking
mind.
constructive criticism. That's a good
Like
point.
open up your mind. Like Dota is not a game where you build the same items every single game, and
You have
that's one
to
thing I learned
adapt.
from BTK. Yeah. If
Okay.
you're accustomed to a certain item build on a certain hero, it might work one match and it wouldn't work the others because of the enemy heroes and playstyles and whatnot. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good answer. Thank you very much. Because I personally was wondering how it is you went from being 2K to what you are now. Like I said, which is arguably one of the best supports in the country. Okay, so moving away from Gamescom. Both of you, what do you think are the main problems facing the Trinidadian Dota community right now? And what can we do to solve those problems?
I think the main problems would be, well, okay, as a community, right? Any community, the main problem people would always talk about it being a lack of support, lack of support, lack of members who actually care. People want to say, people want to see something happen, but they don't want to put any effort into it or help. They want to see other people do it, and if it do happen, they criticize, right? And without even doing anything themselves. So They just want to see people try something, fail, so they could criticize. And I think that's really bad. You know, that kind of attitude would spread throughout the whole community.
If I could have liked that comment, I liked it about 1,000 times.
You know, like
That's
right,
true.
honestly, like right now, ever since Gamescom, I feel like we actually in a good place. Especially with these interviews, things you're all doing, you know, we kind of becoming more and more for something Gosu Gamer-ish or any Dota-ish or something. Not any Dota, nah, forget that. Gosu Gamer-ish. You know, like close to that kind of community, you know. Um, so it's good. We almost mimicking how actual esports is play out, you know. I remember too, like long time ago, you know, training gamers had tried to do like articles and stuff. You know, those kind of things are good, but you know, most people they don't appreciate it. You know, they don't appreciate the effort that actually goes into it, and they don't understand the significance of what it is. They just see it as or like this, you know, might be this hour-long interview. I ain't gonna bother to listen to this or whatnot. But you know, I appreciate it. And I think we in a good place right now, but I think we all agree when we like to say we want to see more support. If we ever have a next Gamescom, can we at least pull out 3 rows? And you know, let me start there now. Let me pull out 3 rows, please.
Yeah. Okay. Kareem, you have anything that you want to add?
Not really.
Okay. All right. So moving on. Let's see. We've covered Gamescom. We've covered the community. Now I want to move into a more casual set of questions. Okay. So it's both of you for us first. Who's your favorite pro player and why?
Oh, my favorite player is Sumail, and it's not only because he's a scrawny little Indian kid, but
Pakistan.
Pakistani, but it's because I had followed him from like since like a year and a half ago. He was playing under a name called Demons, and I was like, why does M's have the name as a pro player name? You know, his name was D3MONS, and thing is, right, he was playing NEL. And I was like, hey, I see this guy matchmaking already, right? Because I played with him before, and I was like, this guy just, you know, like rape my mid player. So I started flaming him and it's like, what's wrong with you, blah blah blah. But so this guy playing NEL, and he was beating people like TC mid, Osh mid, and I was like, what? Who's this boy? And when he had to change his name to Sumir because apparently, I think he knew he was getting picked up by EG a long while before. Like ever since Universe was asking him to play more games with him and whatnot, and talking to PPD about him. I think he knew and he changed his name back to Sumir, right? Which is his middle name. So I like him because I find he's the best mid player in the world. I mean, he won TI, I was backing him since before that, right? Since DSC, where he was beating people and making all the pros look like real scrubs, and he was 15 years old. And I still think he's better than Arteezy, even though he went and feed Arteezy
We
mid.
can kick Firas now.
Yeah, even though he went and feed Arteezy mid and thing, I still think like the way he plays,
That's arguable.
he like okay, I've seen Arteezy play heroes and I've seen Sumail play heroes. And like I could say that Arteezy Shadowfiend is better, but Sumail is better Storm and Ember, right? And you know, Sumail plays like these real hyper aggressive heroes. He's like before everybody was looking at Dendi, and then it turned to Arteezy. So it went from this playmaker to this farmer. And now it's kind of back to Sumail in some people's eyes, and his brother Yawa, right? More these playmakers, but Yawa is more balanced. Yawa farms and he playmakes, but Sumail is more playmake. He'll make all them ballsy plays. He'll make them plays with Storm
He's very
Spirit
aggressive.
where you want to know how he regenerates still going and how he's even doing this. And I think every mid player right now, they look to Sumail when they say, because Storm is a broken hero, so everybody want to play Storm. They look to Sumail and say, I wanna try and play like him. Everybody will watch his VODs, everybody watch his player perspective, watch his stream or whatnot. So that's why I like him.
What about you, Kareem?
Yeah, Kareem, what about you?
Well, obviously, my favorite pro player would have to be Arteezy, as I got the autograph from him. I have two actually. One is RTZ and the next one is Eternal Envy. And I'll tell you why Eternal Envy.
Lamau, yeah. Let's
Right?
hear why.
Because everyone would see Eternal Envy as like this player who just coming in second place every time he was on Cloud9. But if you ever like watch Eternal Envy matchmake and see how he just control his team in pubs and make the calls and be like literally one of the best mechanically skilled player in the game right now as a carry player. Like it is just amazing how he just bring all that into the game now. Well, for RTZ, he brought Lycan mid. Like I don't know who does do that. Like that was a thing for a patch where you play Lycan mid and it used to work for some reason. He also RTZ was just no name person where he stand in for what's it Speed Gaming. That was Eternal Envy team back in the day. It was Speed, right, Firas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
speed.
Right. And he just played as an offlane player, and like everybody used to watch mid, and he played offlane, and everybody was watching offlane. That offlane timber so just wreck everybody, and they end up winning that tournament with a stand-in. So, like since then, I was following him and watching how he like individually just beat every pro player in the scene and just like literally pop stomping every single game with Shadow Fiend, Lycan and stuff. So yeah, that would be my two favorite players that I look up to.
Okay. Okay. Firas, do you think you're better than Eternal Envy?
I think I'm better Eternal Envy. No, because Eternal Envy is a very smart player. Like he understands way more about the game than I do. Although I disagree with some of his views sometimes. But he definitely, I mean, obviously, he does it for a living. And he, like, if you even knew the kind of things he used to do, like about 2 to 3 years ago, he had, they still is board out, where it's him and RTZ, 1v1 for about 17 minutes. And he had an interview with Luminous back then, where he explained, like, it was like this 2 hour long interview, where he explained why he hates where Dota is and whatnot, 2 years ago. And he explained how he came to know RTZ and why he was kicked from Alliance and etc. etc. So if you knew like his backstory, you know how dedicated he is and what he had to sacrifice. And he definitely is a good player. He never got his chance. Like he got lowballed almost every single time. Maybe this time around with Poppy, he has a chance, but I don't know. I think like he had a window where he was really, really good, but now like when you're really good, everyone can study you and learn what you know, but you can't learn what they know because you wouldn't study them because they're not as good as you. So they add what you know to what they know, and they become better than you. And that's my mantra for how they beat us. But yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. Okay, now this is my absolute favorite question of the entire interview. It is the dream team question. So, you know how it goes, all the Trini players accepting your teammates.
Well,
Form a
since you're
dream
not a
team.
team
Okay.
again.
No. It's very ridiculous.
Okay, now when you say accept teammates, you mean accept me also?
Yeah, of course. You form a dream team.
Oh no, you mean so I'm in it?
No,
Am I in
let's
it
say
or
you
no?
are, let's say like you are a manager and you have to form a
Oh,
team. Yes.
okay. Oh, well, that easy. So Shen is my fourth role player.
Uh-huh.
Azim is crap. Okay. Oh, so you basically want a dream team that can't make it here. Okay, cool. Okay. So basically, Nasco carry, right? But anyways, I'll explain after. Alright, so Nasco's the carry. Nasco's one role, right? Shen is support. The next support player to go with him would be Smurf. So they could keep their track
Alright,
lane.
so basically DB. Let's move on.
So the off laner is is Pyro. So,
Alright.
wait.
Do
Let me
we all have any
Alright,
Spanish
okay.
player?
Sorry, okay, I'm gonna change one thing. Sorry, Shen is 4, Nasco is 5. But the carry, I'll make the carry Pain, right? I'll make the carry Pain, I'll make the mid player Peter. Right? And I had a choice between Peter and Cole, but Cole too snowbally. I don't think he could play from behind. And well, Peter, I know Peter, very solid mid player. I think he just needs to extend that mid dominance throughout the game. Like he in mid he's played so focused, and sometimes like outside of mid, I don't know what it is, but sometimes he's just do different kind of stuff that like I don't expect from him. Well, offlane Pyro, because I mean in Trinidad there's not a lot of offlane, like actual offlane players. There's just this guy who can't play well. Did everybody else take the other roles on your team, and he wanna be on a team, so he's just played that offlane role.
What are you saying?
No, I mean like there aren't any offlane players. Like there's Pyro and Blaze. Who else is offlane? Like Peter's
that's
play
true.
offlane for his team, but Peter is way better. He's like a 5.5k mid player in my opinion. But he doesn't play offlane like that, of course, because that's not his role. You know? So I mean,
What are you saying? Offlane is the reject lane? That just the guys who
I
just want to be on a
mean,
team.
Hey, no reject.
it tends to be, right? You know?
The ass.
Well, no. In Trinidad, yes, but internationally, no. Because I would say,
Oh, okay, sure.
I would say
Offlane is an important lane.
back like Zai was tied with Universe, one of the best offlaners, although he was a support.
Okay,
Zai-
yeah.
Zai used to.
Yes.
Okay, no, but like, okay, if you watch the tournament that actually going on right now, if you watch like Team Fire while they were in it, the offlane player is Moo, right? He's third highest on NA leaderboards, and he's a mid player, a hero spammer. He's 7.5k MMR, right? And he hasn't played. He's probably has less than 20 offlane games in his Dota career, and he's playing offlane in a tournament for $200,000. Does that make any sense to you? Is a reject lane in my opinion, and not any players see it as that way. About the actual offlane players like Universe, X, Mike, and you know Bulba, MSS, etc.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so let's continue with the dream team. So we have Peter in mid, we have Nasco, Kareem.
No. P
Huh?
no carry. I'll
Pain
to
or
carry.
carry? Oh, right.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
want Shen and Nasco to support. Because I know
Okay.
Nasco can play, he's very versatile, right? He can play every role except mid, in my opinion.
Okay.
Winter Wyvern spammer.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
Nasco, Shenlong, Pain.
Yeah. Worse yet, if Nasco on Tusk and Shen on Bounty, you know? Might as well just pull the plug. So,
Yeah, Nasco Tusk is dangerous.
yeah.
Okay, so you still have a couple positions to fill.
What do you mean?
Oh, you mean
Pain is carry, Peter
Nasco?
mid,
Oh,
Nasco
okay.
and Shen support, and Pyro's
Pyros
offlane.
offlane. Okay,
Yeah.
alright, so it's a hybrid DB that you're working with.
Yeah.
Alright, Kareem, what about you?
Well, my middle had to be cool, and the reason being is because he's still young now, so he have a lot to learn still, and for him being that young, because I remember I used to play with Cole, right, and Sin and all of them, and Sin used to flame Cole real bad. Like,
Used to?
he used to tell Cole, "What you doing, boy?" And Cole just used to feed. And I think one day Cole listened to Azim, and Cole was playing IXDL Open, and Cole just came out from wherever he was into a high 4K player, and he was like real.
Cole was on the
stuff.
leaderboards of IXDL Open actually, huh?
Yeah,
Early?
Yeah.
He's like third and thing. And people in the league actually,
Yeah.
people actually knew him in the league and thing.
Oh, look at that.
I think that's
Yes.
when Cold War 2 started. I don't know.
yeah. So like I would say Cole because he could still learn and surpass certain people. So he'll be my mid.
Okay.
My offlaner would be.
Pyro, I guess.
I'd have to say Pyro, yeah.
Uh-huh.
My supports now, it will have to be Shen and I don't know, boy. Like, who else, boy? Who else? Who else? Well, basically, Shannon, Smith. So
Mm-hmm.
Smith, Shen, Cole, Pyro, and the carry player would have to be either between Sin and Pain. I don't know who to choose.
Okay. All right. We could take your two answers. That's fine. That's perfectly
But
fine.
I just wanna, add another alternate. If I could have chosen my players, I'd have
Mm.
chosen to support with Shen. Actually, I play 5, you play 4. I let Nasco play offlane. I let BTK play carry.
So what about Blaze offlane?
Huh?
But remember, he can't include his teammates.
Alright,
No,
right,
no.
right.
I mean, if I
Nobody
could have
wants
included
Charles
my,
to do.
yeah, if I could have included my teammates,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put me and Azim in there because I still think thing about it is Nasco could play offlane. He could still play offlane, and he has a very wide hero pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So remember earlier I asked Kareem how he got good, right? So there's a community submitted question, and the exact wording of the question is, did you do a lot of shit to live this high MMR lifestyle for us?
Holy
I would
frick.
say yes. I done did. I done did.
You done?
I done did.
Okay, and that question came from Scout. So, okay, moving,
Alfonso.
yes, moving on. Okay, this is a question I haven't asked anybody before, but as we're talking to you and Kareem, and you prefer what? I'm going to call out three pairs of 4 and 5 players, and I want you to pick your favorites, okay? Shenlong and Jimmy from Doombuggy before it was actually Doombuggy. Shenlong and Nasco or Jimmy and Kareem. Faraz, this question is for you first of all.
Oh, sorry. We call over those three.
The pairs,
Uh-huh.
Shenlong and Jimmy, Shenlong and
Mm-hmm.
Nasco, Jimmy and Kareem.
What was supposed to do?
Who's your favorite support pair? Your favorite support duo out of those three?
For Shenlong and Nasco.
That was easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that only night was real cancer.
Kareem, what about you? Shenlong and Jimmy, Shenlong and Nasco, or let's say Jimmy and Faraz? Who's your favorite support duo?
Kareem?
Kareem?
Is he there?
Well, you see,
Oh, shit.
the change is well, I was gonna pick Shannon Nasco, but the trophy isn't there, so I had to rethink it. I still have to go with Shannon Nasco.
Shannon and Nasco. Okay.
But if I had an alternative, I'd choose me and Faraz.
You can't choose yourself and yet
Yeah.
the person you're being interviewed with.
I
What
mean,
rubbish is that?
I mean, I
What's
had
wrong with you? Okay, again, I just want to remind everybody watching that you can feel free to submit
Ask questions.
questions to the Q&A, and don't be shy because we're approaching the end of the interview right now. So we have a question from Katachi, and Kareem, I think this question might be more up your alley. Have you guys ever considered techies? Techies as a part of the meta and a farming techies. What do you think?
uh, I don't think we ever consider techies that much of a pro player hero, like in meta stuff,
Mhm.
because he good, yes, but he's not to the point where he could be played in like really high level games and succeed unless your team was team secret.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
well, I'm pretty sure it will take DB like 2 games versus Techies to figure out the content to Techies. So.
Okay. All right. So Roger and Shannon, is there anything else that you want to ask Kareem and Faraz as we have them here?
The same thing I would have asked the other members. What do you think of the Dota community at the moment? Where do you think we are going, and where do you think we should be going?
Well, what I think we are at the moment. I think right now how I see it, I think everybody right now we chill since the hyper tournament over, all the flaming and whatnot over, and everybody wanna play with everybody right now. We wanna run in houses, we wanna kinda get back that vibes. Um where I think we should go, what you're doing is like a step in that direction, you know? And I think we should, that's a hard question to really answer, where we should go, because I guess we're just trying to mimic, we're trying to get more and more the actual community, I wouldn't say like how, LOL is, because, I hate LOL, but they set a good example, because they
Come
show
from a hot
support, right?
player.
He's
They,
well, but like hot right?
they show real support to their players, right? I mean, uh, like, I'm not really disappointed where we are right now. I think we just going with the flow. The only thing I'm disappointed in is not seeing Rad in games gone. That's a heartbreaker. But I think the community still have, all the old boys, the new boys. We just need, I guess, more interaction. And I mean, it's hard to train people how to behave, right? So, if they ever had more newcomers, there's like the Fight Club or whatever isn't a group they would want to be in, right? That's why it's now like Trinidad Dota, whatever, TTDC, right? So it's no longer a Fight Club, but,
A Dota community.
yeah, yeah. I think if we just continue this what we're doing, we'll head in a good place. Um, so I don't think we arguably in a way in a bad place right now. That's my take on it.
Kareem, what about you?
Well, not just like bash anybody, but compared to Trini gamers, I think we're doing a lot better from when I used to be in the community back then. Like, what are they doing now? Hold on. Yeah, sorry. What are they doing now? It actually bringing us towards esports in the Caribbean, and like Gamescom was that first step, although the step was, I wouldn't say horrible,
Shaky.
but yeah, it was shaky. I think we could take Gamescom 1 and when Gamescom 2 come on, because you have a whole year to plan for Gamescom 2, right? I think we could improve a lot on it in terms of PC specs and the streaming and whatnot. Like not just like what Kevin do. Like he basically spend the whole year trying to get sponsors, and then like a month or probably less, then he started to organize the actual event. That if we do that again, then I don't know. We might just be stagnant, and everybody will think it's a joke. But if we improve on everything and Gamescom 2 is a hit, I would say like we could actually be the center for esports in the Caribbean. Like they would have I don't know, teams might, I think they want like teams to be flying into Trinidad to compete in this tournament and whatnot. That's the message that Kevin like put in my mind now. Like he was like he wanna start it not just locally but regionally. And I think he could go there with the proper guidance and whatnot. So with right to the TTDC, all you're doing the right thing with the interviews and the player index, and like all they're literally taking time out all the day that all they're not even getting paid for it, and helping out people and the community and whatnot. And like yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay.
Well, with respect to that, Kevin knows now to come to us, and he knows to contact us directly now when it comes to his daughter.
Yeah.
So I would, and his TDC would have a bigger part to play this time. It actually have a part to play in terms of the organization of the Gamescom next year.
I know. All y'all did was just manage what he gave all you to manage, right? That was basically it. Yeah. So he have a year, and honestly, a lot of people I talked to went to Gamescom. They said the event was nice, but for spectators.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of competitors, they were held up in rooms, or they
Yeah, they
had
sit on the floor and okay. It had a
yeah,
lot of challenge.
yes, yes. So, like, as one of my friends who played FIFA, he said he will come back to Gamescom, but as a spectator, not as a competitor, because he feel like he missed out on three-quarter the event, staying in one room and.
Okay.
Okay. All right,
Wait,
boys. Mhm.
Stana,
Yeah,
I not realize you never asked me what I think were the strengths and weaknesses of DB.
I did,
No,
didn't I? Okay,
no,
Faraz,
you asked me the
what were
strengths and
the
weaknesses of my
what were
team.
the what were the strengths and weaknesses of the? I apologize. What were the strengths and weaknesses of DB? I feel
No,
like
because I wanna talk about that now.
I feel
Okay.
like an hour down the road for you to remember that that question was missed out,
Well,
that you had
He
like
have it
prepared
written down
something.
on his
Yeah,
hand,
I
though.
think
He have
so.
it written down on his hand.
Yeah, man, like
nah.
You know how
Um,
long we were waiting for that question, but then I was hesitating to ask it.
look,
fangirls.
because I think if anybody wanna know how to beat DB, I
Mm-hmm.
think this right here is where you had to study. Um, I think their strength, like what I said was true, right? They're very objective based, you know. They like to five man a lot when they realize they could, and they they recognize if that part of the game where their draft and their lineup could do X and Y, right? And they do it, and it's mainly like what tends to happen, right? Their map, they have like a map or a blueprint, right, that they follow, or flowchart, sorry, flowchart, right? So what happens is, they lane a bit, and once they have secured Nasco at least a level advantage when you offlane, or a positional advantage, like say you finish Basi or something, you get an extra armor. Now, um, sorry, or Zakula or whatever, right? Then you just leave him, and Smooth does stacks or whatever. He might even rotate if he has to, but normally it's Shen, and Shen is probably the key like person in that team, because what the impact he has in a very simple move like snowballing mid is is this huge chain reaction, because what it does is it makes back up whatever CS Cat didn't get mid, or makes back up the experience that he didn't get because of denies or whatnot. So whatever disadvantage Cat was at mid, he's no longer. After that first gang, uh, they either reward or they smoke, and they disappear. They just disappear from millions. And supports in lane, you feel good about, right? Even if they zone blaze out and he stays level 1 for 10 minutes, I happy. But from the time they miss off the map, and they love to do that, and you have no idea what they're doing, you don't know what Shen is doing, he'll always gank. And DB makes a lot of emphasis to gang, pyro, and cat lanes, right? They they don't like try to sit and keep killing Blaze. They will never do that, right? Even though he dies, but they will try to gank mid or gank pyro's lane. They need to make sure that pyro and cat have a good game, because in my opinion, once they reach that point in the game where where they are behind, they don't come back. Like they're not very good. Which no, this would be the weakness, right? So Cat and Pyro, they're not very good playing from behind, and I don't like consider the bounty game the last game at all, because that's a bounty game, right? All that happened was we team feed. You know, this wasn't them taking good fights; it was us making mistakes rather. Because I don't agree with like sometimes Pyro's skill build. Like I really think he really should stop just doing what he does when running, and probably just watch how windrunners kill. Even like watch Universe play windrunner, offlane. Almost like you say, he probably likes to take shackle to make plays with it. But honestly, you should start taking like your Alta 6 and like blink BKB on Shadow Fiend. Like it worked that game because we had a Bloodseeker, and Bloodseeker does nothing to BKB. But generally, this is a build Cat does a lot, and he still builds Cardi on Shadow Fiend, and that still isn't good. Like it really isn't good. Um, so I think like they're more balanced, like they like how we like to rise a lot, they would play their heroes more gank oriented, more team oriented, and like they make use of Razor. Like I don't know any other team in Trinidad that could really make use of Razor. Like if we had to make use of Razor, our Razor would just have like damage items and farming items. We wouldn't build like you never see Azim build mech. Like I don't think ever, But they do it. They know how to do it and they make it work. And I think just like the team average on average, their team's very mechanically skilled, especially Nasco and Shen. And it's very important that your support player, like your fourth role, is very mechanically skilled. And even Smurf too, right? So that's an important thing. Their positions, and that extends mechanically, it'll extend to their position and whatnot. And they make very little mistakes. Like honestly, they make very little mistakes. So it's all about who makes more mistakes versus them. They'll really punish you because they tend to feed off your mistakes and a snowball with it. So yeah.
Okay, all right. I don't know if you noticed that Azim asked a question.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Um,
noticed.
right,
Yes,
and
actually, just to look at NLD have beaten them and elaborate why.
yes,
Okay.
I do
Honestly,
think you covered a
I
lot of
think
it, but if you want to
I
elaborate, go ahead.
I would
okay.
like to answer that question too, but after Firas.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure me and Kareem have different views on this, right? Because I still think, okay, when you talk about as a team, right? Yes, they as a team. Yes, they are the best team in Trinidad, and that's because of like most recent performance, right? You have to judge the best team based on their most recent performance. Because even though they won $10,000, we still have won more money overall, right? If you count up all the monies we've won over 20s, we've won more. But okay, that doesn't.
But currently,
Yeah, currently, so they're the best, right? And I say that because as a team, regardless of what um each of the individual players lacks, because I can still name, what I see as the weaknesses. I'm sure they could name the weaknesses individually in our players, right? But I see it clearly, the weaknesses individually in their players. But the thing is, their team works around it. And I have to say, like, their team noticed that our duo support uh, was kind of the weak point in our team. And they knew, like, they took advantage of the bad positioning that we tend, that they tend to have, and they always, like, feed off of the the mistakes that Jimmy and Kareem would make. And they roll with it. And like their supports, they tend to have better positioning. And I think is I can't like objectively saying that no, because I know for a fact, like, Witch Doctor was just in the back in that last game. He was in the back, and all he would do is press R, press the ground, and they would win the team fight, and nobody could stop him because they have two BKB heroes in front. They have Pyro shackling people with a Desolator and an Axe, and it's killing me. He, like, all they would do is put on BKBs and right click me, and they would just win. They understand, like, what to do, to win a game. Understand how our heroes worked, how their heroes worked. They bid their time. They waited for us to make the mistake, and that's why, like, they kept the composure. That was a game that if our team was only losing end, we'd probably just lose. But their team was only losing end, and they won. And I think that's important difference to note. And I'd say they are the best, even though I think we could have won. Like, all it would have taken for us to win was people to listen to me when I said stop talking and just focus on the game. That's all. But we get cocky, and that's the price we have to pay. Because I still think we still have a good idea of how the game runs and what to do. But at the end of the day, I would say overall their team was more mechanically skilled than ours. So even though I think Azim is better than everybody on their team, and I think the same thing with myself. Like, I think I could do everything they do a bit better. I still think overall they made up. Like, everybody on their team pulled their own weight. And I don't think everybody on our team pulled our own weight. I think their team was way more dedicated to winning this tournament for sure. So, yes.
Okay, all right, Kareem, you have anything that you want to add to Faraz's answer?
Yes, I would say DB is one of the best, not the best. I would honestly say if we was to play 10 matches, we would win 6 out of that 10. And
Okay.
I would say because, as Firas said, after that we were far ahead, Shen dropped, the pause came out, we had to wait, so everybody got distracted, nobody listened to Firas. Blaze just want to dive tier 2 for like a kill and not listening when we say stop, 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 and he just want to go. BTK just literally diving, like I was like, BTK, you know, it's gonna have 5 heroes there, right? And he didn't say anything, he went in, he tried to get a kill. Surprise, magic happened, 5 heroes around BTK, and Blaze went to help him. I was like, Blaze, why are you gonna help him? And both of them ended up dying. Like, they get too cocky, right? The thing is, individually, I would say Firas and BTK, yes, they more individually skilled. And the thing is, with Blaze, I would say Blaze too, a little bit. But the thing with Blaze is communication, right? But other than that, we still managed to pull through. And I would say that they won this tournament, yes. They get to be called champions of Trinidota, and I'm happy for DB. But I wouldn't say that they are the best itself. They're probably one of the best.
A question here for you, Faraz, from NAS school. Why not get one in Kraken Shell on Tidehunter?
Oh, was that?
Why not get one in Kraken Shell on Tidehunter? That's a question from NAS school.
Is like I'm gonna assume this is the support Tidehunter, right?
Yeah.
It's offlane Tidehunter, you know, as the 0-2 build. But I guess that I think you wanna maximize the amount of damage your support hero will do. And to be honest, like, you're gonna assume already. Like, you're just gonna assume. You're not gonna waste a CC on a friggin' support Tide, right? It's just useless. So I just think people will assume, you know, he has Kraken anyways. And he wouldn't bother to try and do that. But I mean, I think that's like a really negligible thing, because nobody plays support Tide. You know, we do it, you know, just because that's like our playstyle as a hero. We like to play, and we're pretty, like, we realize, like, Tide works with a lot of Trini teams because they don't know how to play against the hero. And well, DB definitely knows how to play against the hero. So it didn't work. But yeah.
We have a question, a community submitted question here, and I do think that the ideal person to answer it would probably be Azim, but still, maybe y'all can shed some light on it. Why did you guys pick a Bloodseeker in a tournament finals, especially when Razor, SF, and Bounty Hunter outcarry Bloodseeker?
Alright, well, Bounty doesn't, but
Bounty just outcarry.
Razor, like, honestly, right? Like, the build that Azim went, he could still outfarm their heroes, and the only problem I have with his build, like, my build on Bloodseeker is SMI, Dom, BKB, Butterfly, and sometimes Mojo, right? And I think SMI, Dom is like the build you get on every hero that you want to take late game. And on Bloodseeker especially, because here's the thing, right? Bloodseeker early game, you buy blade mail, you put your Q on yourself, you run on every hero, you kill every hero, right? It works fine. Once you get BKBs, they don't care about your blade mail. You actually don't hit hard, your damage doesn't scale, and you kind of only do damage when people low. So if you're at the start of a team fight when no one is low, and it's an even playing field, they put on your BKBs and they hit you, and you can't Q yourself because it just doesn't do anything. And your silence doesn't do anything either. What the hero excels at is killing off their supports, right? And it's like running past them, 2-shot in, Dazzle, 2-shot in, Witch Doctor, whatever. But what actually lost the game in that sense is Bloodseeker's not very good versus Windrunner. Like, even if you buy Blade Mail, like, you just have to wait for it and just focus fire him. And he literally cannot stand there, you know, and he has to run up the fight. Because he's actually very squishy. And Shadow Fiend, like, we could have lost that game very hard, you know, if Amir didn't go Skadi, and he just went like some other item, but he still won, right? It still worked, you know. But he was never actually in any danger. From the time he got BKB, he won the game. Like Russian BKB was smart, even though when he got it, he didn't do damage. But from the time he got it, he pretty much won the game. And well, Razor just links bounty, right? I mean, Bloodseeker, right? And what do you do then? You can't do anything. Like you actually can't do anything. So yeah, they almost countered like that one hero. They countered Azim's hero,
Okay.
and inadvertently countered my hero because my hero doesn't do anything versus BKBs. So yeah.
All right.
But I guess the question is why did we pick it?
Yes, yeah, why?
We picked it because um we wanted to end the game pretty fast, and we knew we could, because Azim just picked that hero when he just wants to cheese a win. And what happened was, as Kareem said, we got really laid back after that pause, and people lost focus and lost sight of what was on the line. So yeah.
Okay. Guys, thank you very much. I believe this brings us to the end of this interview. And again, it went a little bit longer than expected, but thank you for sitting down with us and giving us this hour and a half of your time. Shannon and Roger, is there anything that you'd like to ask Kareem and Firas in closing?
No, I think we covered everything.
I
Okay.
believe so.
All right. So thank you very much. And for all of you who'd like to view the video again, feel free to check out the TTDC YouTube channel. It'll be there as a VOD.
And stay tuned for the question and answer with the TTDC admins coming up.
I would like to shout out one person, and that'll be Darian, because Fraz wouldn't want to do that. That's Fraz friend. Fake friend Fraz.
Oh, and I think by contract we're supposed to shout out our sponsors,
Oh
Dynamic
yes.
Sons.
Woo.
So
Yeah, Dynamic Sons is
they do
drapery
drips.
company.
If you ever want drips.
You know Christmas time when your
you know
mother
what I'm
looking
saying?
for drapes, check Dynamic Sons, sugar on us.
Yeah.
Well played, well played.
So yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you. And have a good night, boys.
My fellas.
Same to you.
Alright.
Bye.
Stay tuned though.